Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. And I'd just like to second the comments that were made by the Chair of the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security with respect to the Intelligence Services Amendment Bill. I think now, Deputy Speaker, what the Australian people should know and what this parliament should understand is that this legislation clearly is needed by the security agency in question, which is ASIS, to keep Australians safe, to allow them to discharge their duties. And often this committee and the subject matter that we talk about, we're very constrained with what we can say. But I can assure the Australian public on an ongoing basis through this committee process that these sorts of the legislation that, and this report that we're looking at and the legislation which will go through this House is subjected to intense scrutiny, probably scrutiny that may not be that a bill like this is subjected to the sort of scrutiny and consultation that may not be seen in other parliaments. And so I'd like to commend the chair of the committee in particular, the member for Canning, for the work that he's done, not just with this Intelligence Services Amendment Bill and this committee process, but for his chairship during the entire parliamentary term. And I say this in the context of some discussion in the media about bipartisanship. Deputy Speaker, bipartisanship is not easy. Bipartisanship is hard. It's easy to take the low road. It's easy to take the easy pathway out, to point a finger at one side and make accusations about one person being, say, weak on terrorism, or it might be about another person that might be weak on security. The parliament and this public, the Australian people, should know that this bipartisan committee that's looked at something like 18 to 19 pieces of legislation is almost unique in the Western world for the outcomes that it's delivered to the people in keeping the Australian community safe, plus the safeguards that have been built into this legislation. I look at the United States of America, where you have a dysfunctional oversight system, where you have chair off-briefing the President of the United States, or disunity. And what you can see with respect to disunity is that you have the enemy that seeks to exploit that disunity. And so when people ask, why are you bipartisan on this committee, it's because we put the national interest first. When we look at security, when we look at legislation that's brought before this parliament, we do so in the national interest, because it's only at looking at national security through a bipartisan way that we can give it its full just measure, its full consideration. And, Deputy Speaker, as I said, it is easy to be partisan in this place, and it's easy to get the media headlines when you're not bipartisan. It's hard to be bipartisan in this place, but that's what this country's craving. It wants bipartisanship. It wants a way forward. It wants people working together in the national interest, and, Deputy Speaker, this committee gives it to them.